Welcome to the KMC Collective Podcast, where the KMC team brings you practical insights, creative ideas, and authentic conversations for children's ministry leaders. Each conversation is packed with strategies to help you lead with clarity, build strong teams, nurture families, and stay healthy in the process. Whether you're planning lessons, training volunteers, or seeking encouragement for the week ahead, this podcast is for you. We hope to make you laugh, cry, think, and maybe a bit of all three in each of our weekly conversations. This is the KMC Collective Podcast. Let's jump into the conversation.
So worship is one of the most powerful discipleship tools that we have. And long before kids can really explain or express deep theology, they really need to begin to experience God's presence personally. And one of the ways to do that, and one of the ways to hide his truth in their hearts, is through music. I learned a lot of scripture as a kid by singing it. I'm not going to do that on this episode, but it was a way for me to learn to express my love for my Jesus. But I get it. Today, there's a challenge. Most of us were never taught how to really build a culture of worship. We just were taught that singing was part of what we did because that's what we do at church. We sing. But here's the thing. Some of us just don't know how to change that. And that's why we're really excited to have our guest Dylan Arms on with us today. Dylan has spent years helping churches create meaningful worship experiences for kids. And today he's going to help us think through the thoughts of more than just simply playing worship music, playing songs and singing, but really intentionally leading kids to worship our God. So I can't wait to get into this conversation. Welcome to the KMC Collective Podcast. I'm Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Ben.
I'm Vickie.
And I'm Dylan.
Up front. And what are you doing?
Welcome.
You're a rock star on the tape.
I know, seriously. Oh, man, that's high praise. Hey, it's so good to meet all of you guys and be here. And I'm super excited about this conversation today.
Cool. Well, we are glad that you're here. Will you give us just a quick rundown of who Dylan is in case people haven't heard about you? Because we're going to make sure they know about you by the end of this episode.
Awesome. I'm 34 years old. My name is Dylan Arms. I'm from Greenville, South Carolina. I've been in ministry in a staff role at a church for a little over 13 years. At Springwell Church, which is in Taylor, South Carolina. Primarily, my role there has been worship directing. In the last couple of years, that's changed a little bit to take on a little bit more of a production role. Alongside of all of that, I've been writing music for 10 plus years, specifically kids worship music. And it's just been a joy over the years getting to lead all generations in worship, from kids to adults to older adults and all those in between. And it's just been amazing just seeing God work through music.
So cool.
So why did you settle for kid music?
Why did I settle, you said? Or
It settle's a bad word.
Settle's a bad word.
Whoa.
Let's just go into the importance. I'm just kidding. I in my early years, early 20s or so, I started leading worship for a summer camp called Century Kid. And so I was pretty fresh out of high school. I had actually just started in full-time ministry at our local church, and got the opportunity to begin leading worship for Century Kid. Did that for 7 summers, traveled about 5 weeks out of the summer. And honestly, that was like my first exposure to like really leading kids in worship. And I mean, it just changed like how I view kids worship altogether, just the response in worship that the kids were engaging with in those live moments, and just seeing how they genuinely connect with Jesus through music and song. And And there's just something different about kids. There's just a freedom there that I think sometimes as adults we lose. And so that's just fun, even as a 34-year-old adult now, to get to see that when I can. Um, and I began writing kids worship music when I was leading those camps and using that as an opportunity to share some of that music. As my role began to grow um, here at the church, my focus needed to shift a little bit to adult worship, and I stopped doing the summer camps. But then 3 years ago, I met my wife at our church, and 15 months ago, we had our first little boy. And so that just re-sparked all of that, the kids'
There you
worship
go.
inspiration again. So
There you go.
this last season, I've just been actively writing more so than I was before, um, with like 10 plus years of game knowledge and wisdom about worship and the skill set behind crafting songs and music and the purpose behind it. And so anyway, all that said, that's kind of been the journey of how I'm doing both kids worship and adult worship. On Sundays, I'm primarily leading adult worship for our church on stage just about every week doing that. But then I'm also actively doing kids worship too.
Yeah.
That's
Well, what I
awesome.
love is seeing on your website how you say, I believe kids were made to worship like the rest of us. I
Yes.
love
Yeah. Yes.
because I am tired of people just saying, "Oh, that's just kids worship music." No, it's worship music, and they're
Yeah.
singing and praising God just like it's the same God that big church gets to sing about and talk about. And I'm just curious when you look at that, when you look at the mentality sometimes in the church today, and you think about kids worship, what's the misconception you think that, and maybe that's part of it, that churches have when it comes to worship music, um, you know.
Sure. That's a good question. I would say primarily, probably the biggest misconception would be that churches may think that kids worship is an opportunity to entertain kids and not disciple them,
Mhm.
when I believe it's quite the opposite. And I think that worship is a very strong discipleship tool. You mentioned it a minute ago. Scripture itself, when you can incorporate that into a song, it automatically becomes so sticky and easy to remember. Um, so, the ways that we can use worship, and there's different, purposes and different ways that you may use a worship song. But I think that that may be the primary one that comes to my mind. Maybe a second one might be the ability that kids have to worship. The ability that they have. I mean, they're kids, and so they're just starting out in life. They're learning everything about the world around them. Trying to comprehend how everything works, to understanding the feelings and emotions that they have inside and how to communicate that. And alongside of that, they're also learning about God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit and how all of that works, and the fact that they can have a relationship with this God that they can't see with their eyes, um, but there's also a genuine sphere that they can connect and worship, and I've seen that
Yeah.
firsthand, and they can connect with Jesus in a real way through songs and music.
I
Dylan?
love that. So, Dylan, what would you say to a church then that um they're maybe wanting more out of children's ministry worship, right? They're at a place where they're thinking we might need to do something, but we don't even have the vision. Like we don't even have our why. So if a church was needing to even come up with their why, what would you say to them? Like, I love you have a couple of really great things on your website, but what would you say to them if they were listening to this podcast?
I would maybe start by defining the why behind worship. to begin with. What is the purpose of worship? And, I think for us as ministry leaders, our job isn't to do worship for kids, but worship is one of the ways that a kid learns to know and love and follow Jesus for themselves. And so I think when you look at the purpose behind what you're trying to create as more than just a time slot in a service, then all of a sudden it becomes a culture that you're trying to build. And then I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do that successfully and do that well. But I think knowing why you're doing it in the first place is an important step. And so, I think that would be, as ministry leaders, you'd have to get around the table and really have those discussions of what are we trying to accomplish? Is it just a worship experience that we're trying to create an event, or are we trying to make disciples out of kids?
Ooh, love that. It's good.
So Dylan,
Good stuff.
I read on your website, you said music can plant truth deep in our hearts, and I've come to believe that kids don't need watered down worship. They need songs that are full of truth, full of joy, and easy to sing as they grow in love for Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, as someone that's 100% on board with that, as a kids director, and knowing my group of boys that I have in 4th and 5th grade, how do I take that amazing thing that I'm totally on board with and go, what do I do with a kid that doesn't want to participate, or a group of kids, or
There's
like
a
even
big
last
question.
Sunday, I had a group of 3rd grade boys. We were doing our worship set, and my worship leader was on stage, and they were just talking over the music, and I had to use my dad voice and remind them what we were doing.
Yeah.
Well, as someone that does children's worship, how would you handle that? How would you look at that? How would you do that?
I would say I think there's so much power in evaluation in general.
Mhm.
So there may be a point that if engagement doesn't seem to happen, or if engagement is a struggle, the ability to step back, maybe first off, and just ask the questions, what is working and what isn't working, and go from there. What may not be working is the song selection that you're choosing. It may be the presentation of how you're providing that worship experience. At our church, when we plan VBS week, when we plan events that are, kid family events, there's not so much language that we've been using lately, but there was a time that our focus was the 5th grade boy, and our thought process was if we can engage him, then everybody else in the room is looking up to him.
Yep.
And so we kind of tailored the strategy to how do we successfully engage the 5th grade boy.
Love that.
I would say with the songs, I mean, what you're reading off my website, specifically, I think the thought around that for me is that when I write music in general, I try to write good music. I don't try to write good kids music per se, just good music, because quality is quality.
Yeah.
But I write the lyrics in a way that a kid can comprehend and understand, and it can take them along the journey of that worship song. And if it can be done in a way that they genuinely enjoy the song and want to listen to it over and over again, then I think that's a win. And that's starting to lodge that truth of that song down in their minds and in their hearts. And if it's good music, then hopefully mom and dad don't mind listening to it in the car too. And so now
There you
it's
go.
more of a family experience down the road,
Yeah.
or in service, or, whatever the case is. But I think that would be my first starting place, is just, are we evaluating, or are we just simply repeating what we do every single week and expecting a different result? So maybe that's a good first step.
That's a great first step. Love it.
I think so too.
All right. First off, Cole, I want to know what the dad voice sounds like.
was just gonna ask. I can't do the dad. Listen, you're a dad, Ben. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
But
It's that voice that cuts. You've never had to cut through the entire room
Oh yeah.
just to gain their we want to
hear it.
make them
I
understand.
want to hear
They're not gonna-
your dad voice because you're dude.
I
Yo.
am.
Something like that.
Come on. You want me to do it
Yeah,
right now?
Yeah, absolutely. We're not.
got
I mean,
Drop it on us.
down there. Hey, we're worshiping Jesus, guys. Come on, let's focus. And
I'm
yeah,
scared.
that's kind of what I said on Sunday. I think.
I would start singing for sure.
I got full of mean looks from the boys, though. But they did quiet down and start focusing. So
And second, I totally agree with you. Like reaching the 5th grade boy, they set an example. So like that is a definitely a bar that you want to connect to, so that kids can look up to them. But also, like you can't argue with a kid if they're singing it in the car. Mom and dad are just gonna keep it on there.
Yeah.
But sometimes, and I've been in churches that this has been a thing, where a volunteer says, well, kids just aren't into music, but I don't know what to do. I'm not musically inclined. I'm one of those leaders that I'm not musically inclined. All I got is a kazoo. And that ain't getting us very far. But what would you say to a volunteer who just says, kids aren't into it, but we really don't know, like, what are we gonna do? What should we do as a volunteer?
As a volunteer or as a leader of the volunteers?
What would I say as a leader to the volunteer that just doesn't get it, says the kids aren't getting it?
Yeah. I mean, one thing you might do is you might point to, instead of talking so much about the song, talking more about the God behind the point of the song. So I think that it's good. I would say maybe in kids worship ministry within local churches. Sometimes I don't know how deep a pool of musicianship may exist. People that can sing, play a guitar, lead a live moment of worship. I know that a lot of churches are using lyric video resources, motion video resources, and I think that can be a fantastic resource. Obviously I'm creating those as well around my songs with that in mind. All the way to there are some ministries that I do know that are doing full live bands for their kids' worship experience. And then you have all the levels like in between that. So I think that even if you're just leading by video, there's a lot that you can do to lead well in the words that you say, to set up a song, to transition a song. And, sometimes it might just be that we're not going deep enough in the explanation behind a song. We're just setting up, we're going to do a song, throw your hands up, jumping up and down, let's hit it.
Yeah.
But what is that teaching them about the song? And so, simple things could be, pull a scripture that ties with the song, share a personal story of how you connected as a leader with this song this week, what it helped you recognize or experience with God this week. How did it draw you into worship? I think sometimes the danger can also be that we equally define worship as music, and worship itself is not a song. It's not a slot of music in a service. So worship is a lifestyle that we live. And music can be a tool of us that we use to express worship. But yeah, I think that a lot of times there can just be that reminder of, hey, you are a worship leader and you're not just a song leader up here. And so finding that heart connection behind what you're leading.
No, that's good, man. I appreciate it. And I just am probably your newest YouTube subscriber. You said in that comment that you're working on videos and stuff that people can play in their churches or what have you. First off, do you do the dance moves?
I do not.
Come on,
I do not do the dance moves. You probably don't want that. No,
No.
I have had the pleasure of, you guys may be familiar with Kid Cardia.
Oh yeah.
So he and I have partnered together. I think there's a little bit of confusion at times that I am Kid Cardia, or Kid Cardia is riding Dylan
I was
Armstrong.
gonna ask. That was my question. Was he has the same kind of hair as you?
He does. I mean,
He's got a mystery to him, but
we have a
hair looks
similar
the
look
same.
for sure.
Yeah.
But no, we connected probably about a year ago, and he's got a pretty strong YouTube channel where he does a lot of covers. He does original songs as well, and he does great songwriting too. But we connected, and he's been creating some video motion stuff around the music I've been writing, and we've been collaborating in that way. So it's been fun.
That's cool. Because I wondered about that too, because I started seeing it out
Really?
there on the interwebs and was
Yeah.
like, does he have a alternate personality going? Is this a whole new thing that I didn't realize? And yeah, so I started questioning whether it was actually a second person or if it was
We have talked, I think at some point we're going to do a social media collaboration, not to necessarily straighten that out by any means, but just to showcase that we're collaborating, we're doing some stuff together. I'm Dylan Arms Kids Worship, he's Kid Cardia, we're working together kind of thing.
see, that's the collective. That's better together.
Right,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
better
I'm vibing with
together.
that. Probably, well, we'll probably have to get him on an episode too,
For sure.
eventually, and put him in the middle of this craziness. If you survive it, maybe you can recommend he come on.
I read.
I think they should come on together. Let's break the news.
Hey,
But-
let's see that.
That's true.
Right.
That's
Well,
true.
we
We
kinda
need to
already-
make
I mean,
announcements.
he already kind of did break the
Well,
news.
Yeah, he did, definitely.
That's
We'll break it again.
There you go.
there we go. Officially.
We can just have them take a picture of themselves, like when this goes,
Yes.
and then we'll just do it as like a whole.
Yeah.
There you go.
I am Dylan. I am Kid Card. Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Now you know. But it's interesting, because with the onset of Forrest Frank, and we're starting to see people resonate with the younger kids, and that's part of what excites me about what both of you guys are doing, is because as a kids pastor, it was concerning to me all the time of seeing my third, fourth, fifth grade boys standing along the wall, looking, they're not doing the dance moves because they don't want to dance. They feel like that's something, that is below them, or too kiddie-ish or too whatever-ish. And
Sure.
They're too cool.
yeah,
Too cool.
yeah,
Too
just
cool.
too cool to
Yeah.
be moving like that. And what I'm loving is, and what I'm hearing is, I'm watching you come along, and Kid, and some of the other ones that are out there, and the music is appealing to them, and it is something that they're singing outside of church. And to me, that says it's sticking. It's something that they feel is for them and not beneath them. And I love that about that, because I think, I've always taught the strategy and coached the strategy, think blue. If you can teach and appeal to that third, fourth, fifth grade boy, everybody in the room is going to catch it. There's just
Mhm.
something about it that it hasn't failed me in all the 30 plus years of doing this stuff, that if I aim for that group of kids, I'm going to catch the whole room.
Yeah.
And I loved hearing that that's kind of your mentality as you write. I'm just curious, what's God been teaching you as you've been writing your music? And especially now that you've got a little one in the house, how's that impacting you as a dad as well as a ministry leader? But I am curious, what's God been showing you as you've been writing?
Identity. I think that God has just really been, the last 2 years, just really shown me who I am. I think a lot growing up, I was always the shy, quiet kid. I'm very much introverted by nature anyway, but there was just a lot of insecurity there. And when you look back at like all that I was a part of sometimes I don't know. Years ago, I was on American Idol. I went to Hollywood, and so national TV, and then like local TV stuff and music stuff. Um, and so, but all of that was just like, I don't know. I think in a way, I had discovered that I received attention and validation through what I was doing. And 2 years ago, my wife has been like more of a blessing to me than she will ever know. And through my relationship with her, to having our little boy, there was just like this major shift that God was doing in me, that I was no longer doing music to receive anything. I was doing it out of an overflow of what I felt God doing in me. And so the writing now is just like focused on how do I express like all of this good stuff that God's been doing in my heart and in my life and in my mind and through my family and the world around me, and putting that into music and song, and helping to instill truth in others and build up another generation. And that just feels like such a more healthy place than where I started in music. And so I think my answer would be identity to that.
Wow. Very cool.
It's awesome.
That is
Very
very
cool.
cool. So Dylan, a lot of people listen to the podcast and we give them a lot of information, but we also like to give them very practical tips that they
Yeah.
can use. So what one piece of advice would you give a leader to, in a way that they could change their worship culture this weekend? If
Good
you were to
question.
say, just do this one thing. Like a lot of us, I know me, I hear things and I'm like, I want the 180 shift immediately.
Yeah.
We know that that's not how it works. It's just like incrementally. What's one small thing that they might be able to do to raise the bar of like their worship?
I would say, first of all, in kids worship in particular, don't be discouraged by a lack of participation that you may see right in front of you. But the impact that you're making is lifelong for a kid. And so, first of all, I think just recognizing that and having, maybe grace for yourself as a leader, and just know you're doing the right thing, even though the room may not be responding in the way that you're anticipating it to respond. Um, but I would probably say practically, as someone on stage leading a worship experience, one practical shift in your mind that you might could take is, don't just lead the song, but lead the room, and focus on
That's a good one.
We're
that.
all taking that note. and listening.
Time. Say that for the back of the room.
So that would be, I think, just in that simple mindset shift, that drastically changes how I'm going to prepare, what I'm going to say, the moment that I'm going to create, all of the above there.
That is so good. Bringing them into the presence, right? That's
Mhm.
what we need to think
Mhm.
about.
So I'm going to ask a question, and I've never done this, and you can feel free to say no. This is one of the spontaneous
does.
moments.
This is
Oh,
Ben being
goodness.
Ben. Stick to the script.
Before you ask,
We're figuring out what to ask. Say that again.
that, I have my phone is about to die, and my wife just slid my charger under the door. I'm gonna plug my phone and just rip.
Tell me while you're at it.
This is why he's one of our people. He is
goodness.
one of our people. This
I was gonna say, if this isn't real life kids ministry stuff happening right now, live
Yeah.
on the KMC podcast.
is right. This is
My little boy, he's sitting outside the door, and so he sees me open, and he's like, "Oh, I can see you now." Oh no, I can't.
Peekaboo.
Dennis here.
Okay, we're good. Ask away, my brother.
You've never done this on a KMC podcast, collective podcast. I would say probably not even in the old school KMC podcast, but you just released a new song. Tell everybody what it's called.
Hello, God.
Hello, God. I listened to it 3 times on the way home.
Yeah.
It gives this the country vibe.
It's a real
It
good
does.
song.
It's got a little country
It's
there.
really good.
And you just said you were on American Idol, so this is not out of your comfort zone. Will you sing the chorus to us?
I love it.
Get the vibe. Like,
I'll do
I'll
that.
get home. I'll just be quiet.
Let me preface this though with the fact that I think, Tom, you saw this probably on Facebook like 4 days ago. I had emergency surgery to remove my appendix,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
which was nuts.
I don't
They put a tube down my throat, and ever since then, like I've been trying to get my voice back a little bit. So
It's
anyway, just
sore.
know that before we dive into this. So let's see. Hello, guy. You want a guitar with? I got a guitar right here.
Oh, hey. All right.
Of course, the worship guys. Of course, he's got a guitar. I love it.
Let's see if it's a team.
If it's not, it'll help you sound better.
That's right.
Post surgery.
I was just going to say, I'm so unmusical, I wouldn't know if it's out of tune.
I'm okay with you, Tom. But like we have an American Idol / kids worship leader / brand new song just came out. Probably how long's it been out?
It's been out like 4 days. Friday.
Yeah,
It's
my-
new.
At time of recording, 4 days. By the time you hear this, it's going to be all over your playlist, everybody.
Yeah,
So
that's right.
let's
It
go.
better be.
All right, here we go. Hello, God. I want to talk with you. I'm so thankful you want to talk with me too. Every word I say, you hear me through. Hello, God. I want to talk with you.
yes,
There you go. Love it.
first concert
The goosey
ever on the
bumps.
Collective podcast.
There we go.
Buddy.
It's just
Awesome.
so good. You can just see kids because I love this song because in this worship song, we're teaching them even how to pray. Just like,
Yes.
it's just like talking to
Mhm.
God. I
Yes.
cannot wait to use this song
It's
in our
it's
ministry.
the beauty of the
So-
basics of being a disciple, and it's
Yeah.
not
Mhm.
emphasized enough. And we've had that conversation here on the KMC a lot of just, we've got to get this generation understanding the basics of what it means to be an apprentice, a disciple
Mhm.
of Jesus, and just having that. Yeah, when I first heard just the teaser, I was like, "Oh, Malanta, this is one that every worship. Well, that's why I shared it in the KMC Facebook group immediately, because I didn't even have to hear the whole song. Just your teaser hit my spirit. Like, okay, this is something that we emphasize a lot in the Kid Ministry Collective, is helping leaders make disciples, to make little apprentices, and talking to God is just, yeah, that's so cool. Love it, love it, love it, love it.
Well,
Did
thank
you
you.
say you love Atlanta?
What?
I said, "Oh, my Lanta."
Oh, my Lanta. I was like,
I love Atlanta.
and he grew up on Full
No,
House. It's a Full
no.
House reference.
It's Oh, my Lanta. Oh, anyway,
So
wow.
Dylan, I also love on your website, you talk about the age of kids learning worship, and that when they are learning to sing early, they're not just singing, but they
Mhm.
are learning to walk with Jesus for a
Yeah.
life. And I love that. I want to blow that up and put it on every wall in our church, because I think that's so important, and I think it's something that leaders miss. That lends to culture, right? It's building a culture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what would you say? How have you all built a culture of worship in your children's ministry?
Sure. First off, you can find ways to implement worship outside of just a time slot within a service that's labeled worship. One very practical way to do that is the power of a playlist. And I think Cole or Ben, one of you guys, Cole, you mentioned
me,
the
yeah.
playlist. Yeah. So it sounds like you guys are already utilizing music outside. I mean, we all do like the pre-service, post-service music, but I do think there's intentionality to that. I mean, if you picture like an activity time where a kid is sitting and coloring something on paper, and in the background is a playlist of worship music, or maybe like on your TV screens, there's like some videos, some weird videos, like content that even in like the off moments, you're still implementing worship around the environment. So that would be one practical step that you could even take this week to build that culture even stronger.
Can I build on that a little bit? I've noticed since we added that into our environments that it just changes the whole mood of the environment. As kids are doing crafts or as kids are playing games, like it just brings an energy, whether it's a calm energy when you're doing the craft and all that type of stuff, or as the kids are working on stuff, or it's bringing a loud energy as the kids are playing a game and just having a good time. It just changes the whole energy of the room when there's something that's playing behind that matches the energy of the kids and things like that. So that's a great point, Dylan.
So that's expanding, right? Just like the hour of your ministry that the kids are there with you on the grounds of the church, but even taking ways to build worship opportunities for the kids and the families at home during the week. So, again, playlist is a very practical way. Maybe your church has a playlist that you draw up a QR code link to, kind of bring everybody into the same experience that you're crafting as the ministry leader. That would be a great way that the songs you're singing on Sunday, they can be listening to, learning, instilling that in their heart during the week. And then they come back even more ready to engage in that on Sunday morning. That's something that we've even done with our adult ministry is, I think there was a season, this can be also very practical for kids worship. There was a season with our adults that we took a step back, we evaluated, and we said, you know what, we're doing a lot of new songs right now. And so every week there's, maybe a new song, but if you also look at the makeup of our church, we have a lot of members that will be every other weekers, or they're once a month. They're not every Sunday. And so if you break that down in the context of how many songs we're doing in a month, we may do a new song twice, but the person that just came, every 2 weeks, they heard it once. So, creating that culture where the songs can become familiar, I think is a practical thing that you can do for engagement. If you're doing a new song every week, engagement's going to be tough just because they don't know the song.
Yep.
Or if you're just not doing it enough for them to know it. You could also teach the song intentionally before you do it. If you do have a live worship leader that's able to, just pause, maybe explain the song, explain the why behind the song, and then, hey, let me teach you the chorus. And then we learn the chorus together, and then we launch into the full song. Then I think your chances of engagement go up there. I don't know if you can hear the knocking on my door. That's Lyndon, our little boy. Right. But yeah, I think that there's a lot of creative ways that you could really just expand worship beyond the 8, 10, 12 minutes that you're leading that technically in a spirit.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Oh man, I hate to wrap up. I really don't want to.
I know, such
but
a good conversation.
Such
I
a
know
good conversation. It
Our
really
listeners are
is.
going to get some really good practical tips
Yep.
out of
Yeah.
here.
I got good practical tips.
I know I am.
Thank you.
I am. I need to
Go
go back and
online
do
and
some
find
some work.
Yeah.
Where can they find you? On socials, I know I found you on YouTube, and then Facebook, Instagram. So this is your one elevator ride promo plug.
Just throw it all in. I'll just dump it out.
Yeah.
You
Where
can
can we
look
find
up Dylan Arms Kids Worship on any of the streaming platforms. I think Spotify is probably the primary one that people listen to. That one's like top streaming platform in the US. Apple Music second to that. But any of them, Amazon Music, Pandora, YouTube Music, all the above. My website, DylanArmsKidsWorship.com. You can find links to the music there. You can find resources there, lyric videos, motion videos. I've also created kits around the song so you can download the Hello God kit that includes the lyric sheet, the chord chart, the lyric video, motion video, multi-tracks, performance tracks, all that. We could also get in touch through the website if anybody wanted to reach out about anything. Socials, you can follow me on Instagram at Dylan Arms. Facebook, I think it's backwards. It's facebook.com/armsdylan. And then you can find Dylan Arms Kids Worship on YouTube as well.
Dude, that's
Very
awesome.
cool. Very cool.
Love it.
All right, man. Hey, thanks, Dylan. What a blessing to get to know you. And I hope that our audience, our Facebook group, the community will go get the music, start using it. We know it. We are confident it will be a blessing, and helping kids take another step closer to Jesus. So, man, keep it up. We're excited to partner with you and collaborate however we can, man. We definitely want to do that for you. So,
Well, thank you
all
so
right.
much for having me. It was great to connect with all of you guys. Love the conversation. I feel like we were just getting started in it.
Yeah, I know.
We can
time
have you back,
flies.
part 2.
Hey, let's
For sure. And if you're listening and maybe you're feeling discouraged about some of the worship stuff in your ministry, remember your goal isn't to just create a concert. It's not about performance. It's not about the motions. It's creating a real opportunity to encounter Jesus, to create space for him and his spirit to show up. So keep modeling it, keep going at it. Don't get discouraged and give up. But trust that God's working no matter how it goes, because even when you can't see it, he's in the middle of it. So thanks for joining us on this episode of the KMC Collective Podcast. My name's Tom.
I'm Cole.
I'm Ben.
I'm Vickie.
And I'm Dylan.
All
Thanks
right.
for joining us. Bye,
See
guys.
you guys.
See you next time.
Hey, friend, that wraps up the KMC Collective podcast for this week. Thanks so much for listening. If today's episode sparked something, an idea, a heartbeat, or a fresh start, drop us a line at tom@tombump.com or reach out on social media. We'd love to hear your story and keep the conversation going. Remember, you're not just doing kids ministry, you're shaping the next generation's faith with intention and care. Be encouraged, be creative, and take a breath. You've got this. Catch you next time on the KMC Collective Podcast.